Fun fact number 107, here and now. So basically, I've scheduled most of everything up until this point, and I was going to try to do it earlier today, but life um, plans to do things a certain way today, and um, for other people in my life that needed me to give them some of my time, which threw my whole day off. So it's much later than when I wanted to do this, and I wanted to schedule a bunch, and we'll see how far I get. But today, and it's really here and now. And I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about, but now there's more stuff to talk about since I wrote down the stuff I wanted to talk about. And then some of it may put things a little bit out of order, but whatever. Here and now, it's fairly a beautiful day. The weather's fairly nice, fog and ocean and sun and clouds and no rain today. But pretty tired because I went on a trip and I just got back like late Wednesday and then in my car, which I'll tell you more about. And I'll tell you about some other things too, but I'm gonna try to spread it out. Otherwise, it's gonna be like a 20-hour thing. And I get, yeah, I can talk, but sometimes I need to eat and rest and stuff too. So the here and now that I have, and I think it was before I went on the trip and then after I got back, talking about my cat, RC, who is a lover boy and a knight, and I worried about leaving him here, and he was very upset. He does those things where he wakes me up in the morning and tries to pull the covers off, and I don't know what else I was going to say about him because I wrote this a while ago. But I was also going to talk about BTS, and I had something about the weather, but I don't know what I was going to say about the weather. I think it was crazy around that time. One day it was rain and 60 degrees, and the next day it was 85, which is hot for here, and sunny. So the weather fluctuations, the floods, the fires, I think I've talked about that before. But the BTS, at that time, BTS, I got to see BTS on several platforms. I got to see BTS's performance at the FIFA. I am not a soccer person, don't follow it. And, but I knew that BTS was going to be playing. I knew Shakira and Madonna and some other people, whatever, were going to be playing. But I knew BTS, and I was trying to guess what song. I think I have sunflower seeds in my teeth. But I was, I was kind of trying to guess, and my daughter has been singing Dynamite at karaoke, and they just so happened to choose Dynamite. So I thought it's a really good song for them to sing. And then I've heard this, ow, my cat just grabbed my leg. I'm gonna shovel him out real quick. You're going out. You're going out. You're going out. You're going out. And I never really read it. So, yes, I'm wearing shorts because I just got out of the shower and it's hot. So, and this is my tank top for when I did trapeze a long time ago. Yes, I've done trapeze. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. If you want me to talk more about flying trapeze, I'll, whatever. But and all my experiences, my life experiences. But and then I heard later with their performance, it was a good performance. I did notice some of the stuff they were saying about Jimin not being kind of like in it. But gosh, they've been going. I bet he was really, really tired. And, come on, here's a mess. But so there's a lot of reasons, but there's all this speculation and rumors and stuff like that. But there was some woman, I guess, in Spain. I don't really know her name. I don't really care to know it. I feel like she's trying to get famous off the backs of them by belittling their performance and not understanding their appeal. And to each his own, but if you have a social platform and you're really bashing somebody and really judging and stereotyping them, I think that's and I don't know who you are, and you're supposed to be some kind of influencer, and I'm like, well, never heard of you. I've heard of you now because of BTS, but I'm quickly forgetting your name because you're insignificant because you're a hater, and I heard all about that too. And now recently it's the Grammys, the Grammy stuff. I know somebody a long time ago said something about them adding that category and um, saying that it was trying to get around the fact that they're so overwhelmingly popular that they're not really going to give them their due, and so they made the category to do that. But I think, and other people are saying, well, they're so big, they don't need those awards, and it's probably true, but the world's just become such an icky place. Greed, jealousy, narcissism, greed, jealousy, narcissism, what are the other ones? Hate, whatever, I don't know, you know, self-centeredness, I don't, mm, selfishness. But see, selfish isn't a bad word for me because I tend to lean the other way. And actually, somebody made me something saying, be a good girl, be selfish, because I usually err on the other side and hurt myself. So, um, yeah, uh, all of that stuff. I'm proud of BTS by saying, well, if you're not going to do this fairly and honestly, and make it just about the music, then we don't have to participate. We don't want to We don't want to get an award we haven't earned. We think we should get an award that we have earned, but it should be based off of our music, not where we're from or what language we speak. And I agree with that. I have listened to songs in other languages and melted and not even know what the words meant. So, like, there's just one by Sean that's on my way home, and most of it is in Korean, I think, and I can feel what it means, and same with a lot of the BTS songs. But there's also Spanish songs like Libertad and Mismo Sol, and um, there's a lot of songs that have significance um, beyond the words. And I mean, we got classical music, we got opera and Latin. I mean, and they have a category for everything. And I understand that they want to recognize in the categories, but BTS is so big that creating an Asian music category and then most of their stuff wouldn't be qualified because they mix languages. So, yeah. Why make it Asian when you have one for every language then? It's like, so Gutenhagen gets its due too at the Grammys in the German category. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, yeah. And actually, I almost was part of the union that the group that does the Academy Awards because early on in my life, I was going into sound engineering for music. And I, if you could work at a studio or had a working job as a sound engineer, it was more likely to get the thing. But I had a lot of problems when I graduated from college, being financially and romantically and everything else that um, I didn't have the means to really pay the dues to become part of the sound engineering, the music group, um, union for the arts that actually does the Grammys. And I knew people who were part of the union that were high up in there long, long, long time ago that would talk about the Grammys, and we would sit around and get excited about the sounds and the music and what they were doing technologically, but also how the music was evolving and how recording music was evolving. And so I have some background in that, and I'm really disappointed in the Grammys, but I'm really disappointed in a lot of things in the world that they haven't evolved in a better way. And kind of makes you think, do we really need them if they're not going to do, if the president isn't doing the job and serving the people, then we need to fire him. So, yeah, and struggling and getting a job for a long time, it kind of makes you feel like these people who are doing these jobs really poorly and I can't get a job. Are you kidding? I've said this before. If you've been paying attention, I've said this before. So, there's my bra strap. Hi, everybody. That was lovely. Um, the other thing I was going to talk about in the here and now is my car. So before we went on our road trip, um, my roommate daughter was the one paying for the majority of everything. Made the hotel reservations, paid for it, got the tickets, paid for it. Um, paid for the and paid for the majority of everything, and then we were gonna like kind of bring some food, split the food, get our own souvenirs, maybe, stuff like that. And I was gonna use my car to drive down or drive to where we were going. It's like a 6-hour drive, and I was going to pay for the gas. It's not going to equal out, but at least I feel like I'm contributing something. Um, and then my car uh, had a big error message on it, and it was not the Tuesday before the trip, but the Tuesday before the Tuesday before. It was sometime a week or a week and a half before we were supposed to leave. The error message came up, and I drove to where I was going because I got my car, and there was this check engine light, this triangular error message that says service high voltage charging system. And I'm like, I know nothing, I have a hybrid car, I know nothing about the electric. This is going to be interesting. I had my friend, Mr. Pibb, come over, and not his real name, but one of his many nicknames. And he came over and he took a look at it, and he goes, I can't do this. Can I come back in a few days and take it to the shop where they can do a better diagnostic on it? And so we did that over like 2 days. Didn't have a car, and it was still not working. And he brought it back, and he didn't charge me anything because he couldn't fix anything because it had to do, he believed it had to do with the brain that's attached to the electric battery, and you have to take this huge electric battery out, and that's a lot of labor. And so, yeah. um yeah, so yeah. I don't know, it was very, very stressful, and I did have one of my friends like texting me and say, "You haven't talked to me for a long time. Are we still friends? You're my rock. I love you. Do you still love me?" Da da da. And like every 5 minutes, and I'm like going through all this stuff, and I'm telling her going through something right now, and I really just need to focus on what I need to do because we're going on this trip, and we're just using my car, and might not be able to use my car, so we're going to have to adjust, and I'm trying to pack and get everything together and trying to figure out, well, how much is my car fix going to cost? Because money's like not a thing for me. They're really, it's not there. Big hole. And just a lot going on all at the same time. And um, I finally called a Chevy. It's a Chevy service place, and I was shuffling my teeth. Chevy service place, and I brought it in the Friday before our trip. And their flows on the weekends, so I kind of knew and we were supposed to leave that Sunday. So I kind of knew, I am probably not going to have my car. And so, and they did get back to me on Friday and said it wasn't the brain. They could upgrade the brain. The brain was fine, but there are upgrades for it. And I had that available for free. Did I want them to do that? I'm like, yeah. And the diagnostics was like 200 and something dollars. And then it was the sensors that there was corroded coils. Don't ask me. It's kind of like asking me things about soccer, I know enough to make it sound like I know something, but I don't. And so it's the sensors and the coils were corroded, so they were going to have to clean them, and some were going to have to be replaced. But before that, it was like, you can still drive your car. My friend was like, you can still drive your car. Nothing should happen really bad, but you just won't be able to charge it because I can charge it. And the error message was like really annoying with the check engine light and everything. So, but then when I had to drive it. I had things I needed to do before the trip, before I brought the car in, and they just kept it for a week or so. Last Friday. And it was still by Wednesday, but we were back from our trip until Wednesday night, so I couldn't pick it up until Thursday morning. But it was gonna be $498 plus the 200 something. It was like $798. And I'm like, that's like $800. When I'm going on this trip, I am not gonna be able to spend any money besides getting her gas for her car. That's the least I could do. And I got the gas for her car. I did. But when we got back, well, when I was driving it and I couldn't charge it, it was gas. It's like I was in my driveway and it said I had 174 miles. 174 miles. And then I backed out of the driveway and it said I had 144 miles. And then I drove to the gym and it said I had 160 miles. Okay. And I was like, okay. Uh, uh, okay. That's not crazy at all. My car isn't possessed. No. Maybe it had something to do with the sensors that were further. And then I read, like, if you drive your car with this, your engine could explode if there's something wrong with the coils. And it's like, oh, that's why we decided, okay, we're going to take your car. I'm going to put my car in. I told him, hey, I'm going to be gone. So you guys, I'll be back Wednesday night, but I won't even be able to pick it up until Thursday. So just fix it, right? And so when we got back from the trip, um, he's like, oh, it's all done. And they only charged me like $500 instead of $800, which I was like, yay, thank you. And then I went, we were goofing around the parking lot for a while. Of course, it dropped me off. We were goofing around the parking lot a while. I got in my car. We're like, well, let's just take off. Let's go home. And I turned on the engine and there was the errors thing there in the check engine. But they had charged the car, so I saw the charge, but there was the error message and the check engine light. And I was like, no. I walked in, I'm like, I'm sorry to tell you, but the check the thing is still there. And he's like, okay, let me. And he got in the car and he drove it. And then he's like, and he comes back and he goes, I'm having them do the diagnostics again. And it's probably just like a little thing that we need to just turn off. But I swear I drove it before when we went to go wash it. I drove it to the washing area and there was no error messages. I drove it to this space that you found it in. There was no error messaging. So I kind of went, it's me. It's the chemistry between me and the car. It knew it was me and it just went, let's fuck with her. Let's give her the message. You know it's her. We were trying to drive her crazy. So yeah, that was interesting that we were there a lot longer than we thought. So we ended up going for like a lunch brunchy thing. at a really good place. And if you know the film, it's The Breakfast Club. Yeah, good place. So we went there, we had something to eat, and then we went home and basically went, the, we were doing laundry from the trip and everything else. But I got my car back. Haven't driven it since I brought it home because today is Friday. It's Friday today. And so I'm going to tell you what happened the last few days, but today is Friday. And I've already talked 20 minutes, and I know there's more here and now stuff going on, but I can't believe I went away and came back, and Trump is still president. Why is it when why are people so slow? I don't know. They must be getting something out of it. That's all I can think of if they don't see how wrong this is. But I don't know how many more people have to die, right? So I should end on a positive note. I don't know. I've been trying to do things like vacuum up the cat hair more, and you can hear that's the air purifier because I'm not sick now, but I still get sinus issues, and I am allergic to my cat. So it could be part of that if I can keep things cleaner, it seems to be helping. Doing the omelet as much as I can and some other stuff. I'm trying to find a way to sustain and maintain this life as much as I can. I think my real hair is disappearing more, which makes me so sad. It's really hard to dance when you swim the wig on. So it still holds true, Yeah, I can get 1,000 subscribers. I'll show you my real. By then, there might not be any left. So I love you all. I hope these days are treating you well. I hope you don't have to block any of your friends because they're just not hearing you and they're not understanding and they're being a little narcissistic. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like everybody I meet now is a little narcissistic and dishonest. And when your president is, then, kind of flows. The money doesn't flow, but the attitude does. So, I don't know. I think it's time to move on and say ciao bellas. I think I've talked your ear off enough in the here and now. And I think I covered as much as I could, but I did put down about BTS and their performance. That the feels are real. It reminds me of Pandy. If you're out there, Pandy, I hope you're still surviving somehow. And that you stopped vaping, young girl. Ciao bellas.